What in the world? Oh my God. What is going on? What is going on is absolutely nuts. We were just sitting here talking about some of the stuff that's going on in our world. So I want to talk to you about digital currency. And don't ask me a bunch of questions about it because I don't understand it all. But this part I do understand. I'm going to talk to you about what I do understand. The CBDC, that central bank. Why do you think the enemy would set up central bank? And why does it have to do with this digital stuff trying to take away our paper money? And I know about paper money. I understand that reserve and all that stuff and the gold and all that. But we got to look beyond that because just because you look at, for instance, if you're looking at a tree and this tree is growing pecans, then you know for a fact down in the ground, way down the ground, the roots is a pecan tree. So when we start seeing this stuff out here, what are you going to do? How are you going to change? What is the purpose? What are they trying to do to you and your children? What is this brainwashing stuff that is going on? Well, we know that Jesus himself said, you can't serve two masters. You're going to serve one or you're going to serve the other. And he said, you can't serve mammon, which is being in love with money, the deceitfulness of money and all the riches and all that, and serve God. You're going to hate the one and love the other, or vice versa. So what do you think they're trying to do? The enemy himself he's negotiating all this. Do you realize how long he's been trying to take the United States of America down? He didn't start yesterday. He didn't start 20 years ago. He didn't start 100 years ago. He started, I bet you, before George Washington even knelt down in the snow that night trying to establish this nation, because what he wants is total control. The devil wants total control. He wants to control you, your thoughts, what you believe, and everything he does through fear. So why are people panicking? And you got to have good sense. I'm telling you, you got to have good sense, and you need to do some study. What do you need to do with your retirement that you have? What do you need to do with maybe the retirement you have in stocks or at the bank or whatever? Yes, you need to study, and there's a bunch of great Christians out there that are helping people know what to do and how to handle their retirement plans and just how to handle their regular finances that they have. But we've got to position ourselves. Yes, we do. We have to face reality. But the biggest thing I want you to do is deal with it on a spiritual basis. So when we started these little, I don't know what you call them, these little posts I'm doing, Jeremy and I were talking, and it came out of my mouth. I just said, "What in the world?" And I thought, how many times do we do that? How many times? What in the world are they thinking? Well, every time we say that, remember what John 3:16 says. God so loved the world. What is that? That's that chaotic, demonic way that Satan is trying to enslave. And there are many ways that Satan is enslaving people today. But he's not going to enslave you if you pay attention. And I do think you need to stay up on it. I'm not telling you to watch the news and all that stuff, but you really need to be smart today, because what he's after is you and your kids. And if he can figure out a way to scare the living daylights out of you so that you bow down to him so that he can control you, you know what it's leading to. We're headed toward that 7-year tribulation. But I know, I really believe I've heard from God. He told me in 91 to pray for this nation because he said it's not time. And every once in a while I go back and I pray, hey, here we are in 2023. Is it time? He goes, it's not time. So what can you do about it? First of all, you can be informed. You can understand what's going on, and you can hook up with Christians that are really showing you the truth, because we do need to know the truth and not this error stuff, this deception stuff. But we can pray. God can give you prayers to pray. It can change things. Like, what can we change? What can we alter? What can we stop? Do you realize if we would have listened like to David Wilkerson and different prophets from years and years ago, do you realize we would not be where we are right now? So what I want you to do is like, let's get some hope. It's us against us Christians, us remnant maybe, but it's us against what the enemy is doing. And if God tells us it is not time, he told Joshua, you talk to that sun, you talk to that moon, you tell, hey, y'all, stand still. It ain't going to happen today. I'm going to win this war. That's exactly what you can do. And so when you hear things like this, when you hear about the currency, the digital currency, and then you hear like, oh no, another bank has failed and da da da. Instead of going there and just say, all right, Lord, I'm smart. I'm learning what you're teaching me. I know what to do. And so God will start teaching you how to be a good steward and handle what he has given you. And this is really and truly a time of welfare transfer. I mean, wealth transfer that can go into our hands. We've got to preach the gospel to the ends of the earth, and it takes a bunch of money to do that. So instead of you going down the drink, God can start talking to you and say, look, this is how you can do this. This is how you can do that. And he teaches you to be a good steward of what he has given you. Remember the guy in Matthew 25, there's a guy with the 1 talent, the 2, and the 5. And so now we could actually start right now we could actually start having that, receiving that transfer of wealth, because it is going to happen. Something is going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know when we're going to go down, but there's enough indicators out there that something's going to happen with the stock market, something's happening with the dollar, something's going to happen. But don't get scared. Instead of get mad, you ought to stand up and like, come on, this is not going to happen. This is not going to happen to my family. This is not going to happen in our nation. And we can actually be like Joshua and say, no, stand still, stop it. This is the end of it. This is not going to happen. In fact, it was a couple of years ago, my group and I were praying, and I could see this stuff coming. I knew ahead of time this was about to come down. And I started telling them, I said, they're going to start trying to do this by then. I wasn't watching the news and I wasn't getting information from out there. I was getting information as we prayed. And I said, let's just push it back. Let's just say, no, let's don't do this. I'm seeing if I can get a bunch of people out there. It feels like I do. Instead of going, oh, what am I going to do? Like stand up and fight. Okay. It's time for us to say, no, devil, that's not what you're going to do. And our fight is not with people. I don't care who's saying what. It's we wrestle not with flesh and blood. Ephesians 6. It's all of those powers and principalities and rulers and darkness and all that stuff. But Paul showed us in Ephesians 6 how to do this. And so I want to encourage you, get in a good prayer group, get with your pastor, get with people who know how to pray, get with people who are prophetic, get with people who understand the scriptures, and get in there and do your supply. And as we do, you can watch. We're going to start pushing this back. It's not time. I don't care what CERN is doing over there. I don't care what they're saying. I don't care what those central banks are saying. We have authority. Jesus has given you all authority. He has all authority. He's given his authority to you. And nothing by any means will hurt you or harm you. Do you believe that or not? And if you don't believe it, get in the scriptures and start believing it. So I want you to, first of all, position yourself, get in here where you really know what God is saying to you about your personal finances. Get your family taken care of. Get all that lined up. But at the same time, get together with people who can say, no, central bank, it's not time. We're not doing this. Not right now. I know one day it's going to happen, but it's not necessarily for it to happen right now. We've got this outpouring of great grace. Acts 4:33, signs, wonders, miracles, and no need among us. So let's get on that side of it. But I want you to be smart enough to know what's happening. Don't be home channel flipping and not paying attention. You better wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I'm wide awake, and I want you to be wide awake too. So what in the world? Let's change it with what in the kingdom of righteousness, peace, and joy. Jesus said, I have come, and now the kingdom of God is here with you right now. So you be paying attention to what's going on, and you be praying, and together we can change this thing. So I'll see you next time. God bless.